Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear, and we've got Exalt Fast Feed speed feeds upstairs, or what do we call them really, a speed feed. That's kind of a generic term for them, a speed feed, but theirs is called a fast feed. So it's just a device that allows you to get rid of the lid and fill your loader without having to flip anything up. So it replaces the lid, has a little thing right here. You can see we've got lots of colors of them that will bend inward, but don't want to bend out. So once you've dumped your paint in and the paint passes through here, these will flex down and allow the paint to go in. But when the paint tries to push at it from the other side, it's less likely to let it come out because it doesn't want to flex backwards. Now with any fast feed, speed feed, whatever you want to call it, there's still a possibility that you can lose paint. If you're jumping, diving, sliding, whatever, paint can pop out the end and come out. You're going to lose a couple balls. But for the majority of the paint, it's going to hold it in place and keep it where it needs to be. Now, there's lots of colors for the Rotor Fast Feed from Exalt. We've got some of them up here for you guys to look at. Lots of crazy colors, cool designs, and they're relatively easy to put in. If you've ever taken your rotor apart, then you'll be pretty handy at putting one of these on there. Now, this will work for the original rotor and the LTR, but these fast feeds will not work for the R2. If you have an R2 and you need a fast feed, there's a specific one for that. You need an R2 fast feed. But the LTR and the R1 or the original rotor, this is what's going to work. So let's go ahead and throw one of these in. First thing we're going to do is lift our lid up, pull up our release, push the button, and pop the lid off. I just close the lid because when we take the screws out, I don't want my screws to fall out through to the bottom. I don't want to lose any screws. And now I'm going to take these out. Makes it handy if you've got a electric screwdriver or something like that to take them out, but you can do them by hand as well. All right, so those are out. We're going to set these to the side because we will reuse them, and we do have to be gentle with them when we reuse them. So now we've got this out. It's pretty straightforward from here. We need to get this lid off. Now, when we do the lid, there's a spring that's inside here that makes the lid pop up and down. Inside here is a post, and you can see it right in there. It just passes through from one side to the other. What you cannot do is take the post and push it all the way out. Because this is not round, or not flat, it is rounded. You can see that it is round right there. It won't slide all the way through. It'll start to hit the other side and it won't come out. So what you have to do is push it about, I don't know, a third of the way in or so. And that will allow you to lift the door or the lid up, and then you can slide the lid out. So what I do for this one is I take one of my Allen keys from my set here. I usually go with like the 5/64, I think works for this one. I'm going to put it on the side of the pin, and I'm going to push the pin over. And I've pushed it further. I've pushed it probably about that far in right now. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to see if I can lift it up, and I can. I'm tilting it at its side, and you can see there's the pin right there. And now I'm going to be able to kind of get this to come out. But what I don't want to do right now is just grab this lid and slide it out. What will happen is the pin will stay there. It won't come out with it. You'll slide this out. The spring that's inside here that makes the whole thing work, your lid go up and down, will go shooting out. You'll lose it, and your lid will never work again. You'll have to lift it up by hand every time. So from here, we're going to come back. Now that we have the ability to push this pin from the other direction and push it out, I'm going to push it from there, and you can see the pin sliding the other way. I'm going to do the same thing. I pushed it in a little bit further than it needed to be. And now I can take my lid right off. My pin is still there. My spring is still here as well. So when it comes time to put this back together, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to just do it in reverse. I'm going to push my pin in, drop it down, and push my pin through one side, flop this over, push the pin back through the other side. If it starts raining or something and I need to put my lid back on. Now, the lid won't work with this at the same time. It's either one or the other. So You have to choose. If it's raining, you got to take your speed feed off, put your lid back on, or just deal with the rain. All right, so we can put our lid to the side. Now we can take our upper shell and we can start to put this on. If you'll notice, there's a lot of little pins around the outside of the shell here. And there's a lot of little holes on the outside of the speed feed. Plus, there's a big hole and a big hole right there. If we look carefully around the outside, you can see that there's like a divot and a divot cut into those two pieces right there. That's where we want to line this up. So we're going to line up the two divots with the two holes. And we're going to put the little pins in each of the holes that are there. And this puts it in the right spot and holds it there for when it comes time to put our lid back on. All right, so we got that all set. It's easily held in place right there. Now we can take our top color accent, or whatever you want to call this piece, and we can push it on there. I'm going to look at the bottom, make sure everything looks okay underneath here. I didn't like pinch it or push them out weird or anything like that when I put this over the top. All right, now you can see, because of the way this thing is built, how it wants to not go one direction, but go the other. So we'll put our screws in first. One thing I will remind you when it comes to putting these screws in is you are putting this screw into plastic, all right? There is no metal in these pieces. So as you put your screw in, you need to be careful that you don't over tighten it and strip it out. It's very easy to do. Very, very, very easy. The original R1s way back in the day actually had a little brass insert and a different screw, and you could put a little bit more force into it. Ever since they came out with these here, that go into the plastic, you're not going to get any of that. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to tighten them up by hand. And you can feel when you get to the point where it doesn't want to be turned anymore. And that's where you stop. You never force it. So that's why if I'm using the electric screwdriver, I never put them in all the way with that. I always just get them started, and then I'll come back with a screwdriver, a standard manual screwdriver, and I'll put them in that way. All right, so here we go. As you can see, this wants to fold this way easily, but folding back up, it doesn't want to. So when the paint is resting against that, it's very hard for it to fall out the other way, but very easy for it to come through the other side. Just like that. So that's it. That's how you put in these fast feeds from Exalt. And then you put your lid back on and you're ready to rock right there. Paint goes in, doesn't want to come out, but I'm telling you, if you took this thing and like started banging it right there full of paint, you're going to get some balls to fall out of there. That's just the way it works. But for the most part, it'll hold most all your paintballs in there. Lots of colors to choose from. You can always pair a color up with whatever loader you happen to be shooting. But remember, these rotor fast feeds for your original rotors, your R1s, or your LTRs, check out the colors that are available on the website and order yours today through ANSgear.com.